And so
Yeah.
when you're looking at that, like in totality, there's a couple of different value add plays, and usually communities are a little bit of all of that mixed in. But we, like I said, this one community was really heavy with infill. Like we had like 40 lots to infill.
Gotcha.
And so we have the last house coming in today. It should be on site about 5 p.m. Eastern time. And that is the last home going into that community for the foreseeable future, which is amazing. It took us about 2 years it's
Hmm.
taken us just over a year to get all the homes in. I will have
Yeah.
9 left to get tenanted. Everything else is full at this point.
Welcome to the Real Estate Pros Show, where we interview real estate investing professionals from coast to coast, as well as the service providers that serve the real estate investing industry. Our goal is simple: share what's working now to help you improve and scale your business to the next level and meet the pros that can help you get there. Real Estate Pros is powered by Investor Fuel, America's leader in helping real estate investors and professionals build the business you need to live the life you've always dreamed of. Let's start today's show. Property insurance for real estate investors doesn't have to be difficult, but it does need to be there to protect you when you need it. MyInvestorInsurance.com not only provides insurance at 15 to 30% cheaper than traditional agencies, it's built specifically for real estate investors like you. You can set up an account in about 2 minutes, get quotes on properties, turn on and turn off insurance for your fix and flip or rental properties in around 2 minutes without having to talk to anyone directly, all through our portal. There's no better way or faster way to make sure you've got the coverage you need to protect you, and no more lengthy policies either. Once you're set up, you're billed monthly and prorated by the day for however long your policy is active. It's powered by MSI, the third largest independent MGA, with 1.5 million customers and more than $1 billion in cumulative premiums written. Get set up today in about 2 minutes at myinvestorinsurance.com/fuel.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Real Estate Pros Podcast. I am your host, Hugh Edmonds, and today is going to be a fantastic show. I have someone here who's going to tell us about mobile homes. Going to tell us about the mobile home community, investing in mobile homes, stabilizing mobile homes and communities. And I'm really excited because I'm telling you, she's got the plan well put together. She know how to deliver, and I just know you're going to get a ton of nuggets out of this conversation. So I am so happy to introduce you all to Miss Karen Petersen. Miss Karen, how you doing today, ma'am?
Good, thanks. Thank you for having me
Good.
on. It's a great opportunity.
Absolutely. No, thank you so much for being here. And listen, I want to dive right in. I want you to tell the people what your main focus is these days. Now, if you want to give us a little bit of an origin story of kind of how you got started, we love origin stories. So we'd love to know that. And then also what part of the world you're in. So your main focus, your origin story, and where you are. Miss Karen, you have the floor, man.
Great. So I'm Karen Petersen. I live in North Central Florida in the Ocala, Gainesville area. My mobile home park communities are in Georgia currently, although would definitely be open to anything in the Southeast, possibly expanding towards the Midwest. Um, a little bit about kind of my background and how I got here. Started with reading Rich Dad Poor Dad years and years ago, and I'm not going to share my age at this point, but it's probably close to 30 years ago that I read that. and and so that's turned into getting involved like a lot of folks do, right, with some multifamily 1 to 4 units because they were easy to finance. You could get traditional lending. Had a bunch of those. Learned kind of the landlording side of it. Did some single family flips. Did some ground up spec home construction pre crash in '08. Got tangled up in the crash in '08. That wasn't so
Mm.
much fun. Came out okay, but like a lot of folks, definitely took a financial hit from that too. And then started kind of dialing into bigger pockets. I don't really know when I became familiar that they were out there, but probably got some random email or something that came in that said, "Hey, you might be interested in this," and started kind of following them a bit. And one of those was discussing mobile home communities. And it's not an asset class I'd ever really considered at all. I was always thinking I would be multifamily and probably scale to, 20 plus unit apartment complexes at some point, or renovating, or changes of use, right, of existing schools or nursing homes or something like that into apartments. And so, like I said, never really gave a second thought to mobile home communities. Kind of had the same, stigmas and assumptions that a lot of folks have about them.
Stop living on an island and join the #1 mastermind in America for professional real estate investors. Investor Fuel is a community of hundreds of the nation's top investors working together to build stronger businesses and better lives. In addition to the amazing community of real estate investors acting as a board of advisors for one another, Investor Fuel members have access to 100% funding on purchase and repairs for our members only, a health insurance program, and benefits and discounts that more than pays for the membership of most of our members, meaning it's actually costing you money to not be a member of Investor Fuel. If you're looking to scale your business and build a business that allows you to live the life of your dreams, please visit investorfuel.com today and book a call with our team.
And then, had read that Bigger Pockets article and had a little bit of an epiphany and thought, hey, I need to probably be more open-minded about this, and started actually doing some deep research into them. Everything I could find online, just Googling them, understanding how they operated, finding Facebook pages. I can't say enough about building a network in that community.
Yeah.
Everybody helps each other out. Like, it's not cutthroat at all. It's a wonderful, wonderful community of mobile home community operators and owners. There's not that many of us. And so, just jumping on a lot of those Facebook pages, I started to learn a lot too about the asset class and how it operates. The nice thing for mobile home communities is there's a lot of variety with how you can actually structure your business in there. You can have a traditional rental model, right? With, say we're talking 50 lot community. You could have, 50 just traditional rentals like you would apartments or single family homes, right? And granted, that's 50 roofs, that's 50 hot water heaters, that's 50 everything's. You can end up doing more of a land lease mindset, which is what I try to run my communities as, which is, basically they pay rent for the dirt that their house sits on. They're paying for infrastructure that you're responsible for maintaining. So my water lines, my sewer lines, right, where they come in off city connections, those are my responsibility. Septics, wells, things like that, depending how that community's set up, the roads potentially. And then the tenant owns their own home and they just pay the lot lease to you every month. Kind of similar almost to how condos are set up, right? Like you own the interior of the walls, but then there's a condo association that owns the exterior and all the common elements. It's a little bit similar in that regard, but it's economically it's not quite the same. So I try to run mine where they're tenant-owned homes and I'm not responsible for, hey, my toilet's running or my hot water heater just went out or any of those kind of day-to-day trials and tribulations that we all have as landlords. So that's kind of how I got into it. And then we bought our first four communities, not all together. Two ended up across the street from each other just by chance. That broker was able to put those deals together in the Macon, Georgia area. And then I found a wholesaler who brought me a deal for two more communities in the Albany, Georgia area. And so those were our first four. And we had them for a couple of years, stabilized them somewhat. They were smaller well, the two in Macon were smaller communities. They were like 12 and 13 lots each. So between them, we had 25 lots. Mobile home communities are considered like small size if they're under 50 lots. And so they were good for kind of cutting our teeth on though and learning. And from there, we made some mistakes, but we also learned a lot. And we were able to sell those to one investor who bought all four from us. And able to seller financing on it. The other nice thing with mobile home communities is there's a lot of creative financing that goes on with some of
Mhm.
these deals, especially if you're buying non-stabilized assets with a lot of infill opportunity. And we'll get into that in a minute. So we were able to exit those properties and kind of stepped back for a minute, took a breather, did some stuff with some single family homes in Florida, so got a little bit closer to home and some flips and things like that. And then said, you know what? I had my eye on this community for a few months and it was just kind of sitting. And I finally said, you know what? I'm going to call the owner of this, who is also a broker, and spoke to him. And we were on vacation in Vermont and suddenly putting a deal together to buy almost a $1.5 million 83 lot community, which I don't think at this point you could buy 83 lots for anywhere near 1.5 million at the moment. About half of it had homes and about half of it did not. And so
Mm,
there's the infill opportunity. And infill is very costly. It's
mm,
very nuanced and it's unique and it takes a lot of time.
mm.
Not Not a lot of time, but you don't wanna bring 40 homes in at the same time because you have
Yeah.
debt service to pay on those unless you're really well capitalized, and I don't know anybody who is, or would wanna pull that much for cash reserves outright and just sink it in a whole bunch of homes. So you stagger your homes coming in and you infill gradually. Um, for us to do this community effectively, we were looking a little bit at bringing used homes in. Used homes are great, but you still have the transport costs, you still have the setup costs, you don't get a warranty with them, and invariably you have, just like you would have on a single family flip, you've got walls, floors, cabinets, odds and ends, a lot of freshening to do. By the time you pay the contractors and the materials for all that, you're pretty close to the price point of a new home.
Mm,
Um, so we looked into getting our dealer's license.
If you're looking for consistent, high quality leads, look no further than Investor Machine. Investor Machine isn't just another agency, it's the most sophisticated, data driven lead generation company on the planet for real estate investors, and serves the role of being not just a lead generator for your business, but a marketing partner that is helping you achieve your goals along the way. Go to investormachine.com to learn more and schedule a call with our team today.
And so we have our Georgia mobile home dealer's license. The we is my husband. He's my husband and also my business partner. And so we have our Georgia dealer's license, and we're able to then go to a variety of lenders and say, hey, we would like to infill. We're looking at new homes. Can you open up a floor line for us to do so? And so we have flooring lines with a couple of different lenders that we can bring homes in with. And then if they don't sell, the ideal is always to have the end resident, right, obtain their own financing, or if they're in a position to pay cash, just pay cash and buy the home from us. That's not reality. Where this one community is in South Georgia. South Georgia can have affordability constraints. And so a lot of folks are not able to qualify for chattel loans. Mobile homes are considered a vehicle. So they
mm,
get chattel loan financing. They don't qualify for traditional FHA or anything like that. Those interest rates are also at a higher interest rate. And sometimes the down payment on them, they want a 5% minimum usually, closer to 10% sometimes, depending on that overall individual's risk for that lender. And so that actually hurts affordability a bit because they may actually be needing to come to the table with more than if they bought a brick and mortar and could go FHA, but they don't have the
mm,
credit score to go FHA, right? And so yeah, that's kind of where that's just a really high level overview of mobile homes and the lending and the some of the difficulties with getting folks converted into actual ownership. So we do a lot of lease options. We'll convert them into a lease. They have an option on that they're able to exercise at any point in time. I don't charge prepayment penalties or anything. Like if you turn around tomorrow and say, "Hey, I want to buy my house," I'm like, "Sure, where do I sign?" Right? I love
yeah,
that.
yeah.
I love that for them because a stable asset. They're actually able to, invest in an asset. For a lot of them, it's, first time homeownership opportunities for them, or even going back several generations. It's,
Mm,
just been a renter's mindset. And so getting folks out of that into an opportunity where they actually have an asset that they can do what they wish with later on in life, whether that be renting it out, whether that be selling it and pulling some money out of it. New mobile homes do not depreciate like the stereotypical assumption is. They're very well made. A lot of them have some incredible bells and whistles built in, and they're really really nice, and they will hold their value if you maintain them. And so there's been a lot of, just opportunity there with converting those folks into renters slash hopefully in the next year or two, they will then qualify for their financing. We found some really good lenders we can work with that can convert some of those over to loans. Worst case scenario, we have a couple lenders that will allow us to essentially backstop that loan. So we have recourse on that debt that we're responsible for to the lender in the event that tenant defaults or runs into difficulties. And so that allows a higher conversion of tenants over to owners with their own chattel financing, to clear some of that debt off of our balance sheet. And there's a little bit of risk for us that we assume, but it's okay with us. Just like I said, to have bringing in 40 homes at an average um, invoice price of, about 50,000-ish.
mhm,
And then the setup costs, like all in is around 75,000 per home. That's with no markups. And we don't
mm.
mark our homes up when we're looking to sell it to our residents. I'd rather get the lot rent and get that version in there. And so it's a lot of debt on our end and a lot of setup costs with some out of pockets to make all that work. So that's one of the biggest challenges with mobile home communities as an investor is if you're looking at value add, which that's kind of my specialty. If that
Yeah.
value add is heavy in infill, not in management and like operations, deferred maintenance, or paving roads or something where it's kind of one and done, or just rents that haven't been touched in 10, 15 years and they're really, really like low market at this point, and you can't turn around and just say to someone, hey, starting in 2 months your renters went up $200 a month, right?
Mm,
Like that's really unfair. And so you incrementally increase those, and that can take 3-4 years to build your rents to market. And so
yeah.
when you're looking at that like in totality, there's a couple of different value add plays, and usually communities are a little bit of all of that mixed in. But we, like I said, this one community was really heavy with infill. Like we had like 40 lots to infill.
Gotcha.
And so we have the last house coming in today. It should be on site about 5 p.m. Eastern time. And that is the last home going into that community for the foreseeable future, which is amazing. It took us about 2 years well, it's
Mm,
taken us just over a year to get all the homes in. I will have
yeah.
9 left to get tenanted. Everything else is full at this point. That
Yeah.
was a lot.
If you're a new or newer real estate investor looking to launch or grow your real estate investing business, please check out Investor Fuel Club. It's a coaching community, but unlike anything you've ever seen before. And you can actually partner with members of our mastermind from coast to coast on deals right in your market. There's no better opportunity to build a consistent business than to literally partner with pros to help you avoid costly mistakes, avoid the need for capital to do deals, and help you eliminate your fears as you're starting your business. Learn more about Investor Fuel Club at investorfuel.com/club.
I love it, but it was a wealth of information and knowledge. And I have talked to people who had do mobile home investing and rentals, but you just gave me a really, really good overview in some things that you said that I have never really heard put in a language before. So no, I really appreciate you taking us through it, walking us through it. Now I want to ask you a little bit something about yourself, right? Because I have this saying where I say destiny has no wasted moments, right? Meaning no matter what we go through in life, each destination has a way of teaching us something about ourselves that make us who we are today if we hold on to it, right? And so as you was building, you had, 6 mobile homes, sold for the infill, all these different things are happening. What has these moments taught you about you? What has it revealed to you about yourself? Some people it revealed, man, I'm a little bit more disciplined than I thought I was, or I'm a little bit more consistent than what I was. So what superpower has destiny brought out of you and made you aware of yourself?
I am very much an operations person. So, like, I'm a planner, very good at like reverse engineering and just kind of being
Mm,
like, by this date, this is the target. For a variety of reasons, right? Sometimes there's a refi that's a hard stop that's going to force my hand to do something
yeah.
because these are commercial loans, and so they're fixed for about 5 years. Then you got to refi out of them, and so that timeline taking is definitely a motivator. But a lot of it is also just, I'm operationally strong. I'm very good with like the 30,000-foot view and just stepping back and being like, okay, here's Z. How do we get to Z, and where does A start? And what's the
Yeah.
timeline to put all that together? And that's just natural to my personality. Like I've always had it, always been entrepreneurial, pretty organized. One thing I learned about myself in all of this is not everybody else shares that same mindset or has that same
Hmm.
sort of gift. And so I sometimes way more patient than I wanna be. Um, I don't know what my parents knew, but I am a redhead named Karen, and so we'll just let all the memes ride with that. But yeah, I can be tough. I held a really, really high bar for myself, and I
Yeah.
I project that on others, and sometimes I need to, step back and realize that maybe I'm being a little harsh or a little unfair. Again, my business partner is my husband. Probably owe him a few apologies in there, but he's equally driven and equally operationally strong. He's actually a commercial architect by trade.
Mm,
So
mm,
together, really, really cool because we can tackle the infill. We know construction inside out. We can tackle the infrastructure, things that some folks would really get, taken aback by or find really intimidating. There's still a lot, don't get me wrong, but they're manageable for us. And again, it's the proverbial like, how would you eat an elephant? Well, it's one bite at a time. And there's days where the phone goes at like 7 o'clock in the morning. You're just like, oh no, like
mm,
gotta deal with this. And it's just divide, conquer, break it into small pieces and just
yeah.
get through the day. And move the needle forward. And, like I said, with the one community, there's been a lot of inching and moving that needle forward over the past 3 years since we purchased it. And like we are
Yeah.
in the home stretch, and that's very rewarding for us. It's also nice that we can kind of see the light at the end of the tunnel and take a pause, take a bit of a breather with that. But it's
Yeah.
also really rewarding to know we just got 40 families into homes that they can afford, that are brand new construction, that are great for them to raise their families in. And the thank yous you get for that, like you can't put a value on that. It's absolutely priceless.
Yeah. I love it. And I'm coming up a little bit on time, but it's like two questions I want to ask and trying to see if I can smash them into one. Because I love how you just said what made you feel really good is that you got 40 new people, 40 new families to have a home. And so I'm gonna go here because I would love to know your perspective on relationship building, right? Within business, because you helping people. I believe that any at the foundation of any sustainable business is servitude, really serving people. And so I want to get your perspective on relationship building within business. And you got a unique one because your business partner is your husband, but then also it makes you, it lights you up that you were able to do this for 40 families. Tell me a little bit about relationship building from your perspective.
I think it's integral. And again,
Mm,
like because I can be impatient, I sometimes can be, a little sharp and short
mhm,
with communication, and long term that doesn't really serve you well. So relationally for us on the business side, finding lenders that can be partners with us is
mhm,
huge. I mean, like without our lenders, we wouldn't have what we have. And I'm sure all your listeners would agree with that too. I mean, without the lending piece, like great, it's an idea. There's no way to execute on that and actually deliver.
yeah.
So that's a huge piece for us. Shout out to Vanderbilt and to Triad, who are kind of our two main, and 21st is in there also. Um, in finance. So shout out to all of them. They're phenomenal for those that are in the mobile home community space or looking to get into it.
Mm,
Um, and then, just forging relationships with local contractors. Like
mm,
I was able to, well, and forging relationships with other mobile home community operators should probably actually start there. When we purchased the community in South Georgia, the operators of that had multiple communities. They were actually scaling, and that was why they were selling this one so they could reinvest those proceeds into a larger community. And they still have some communities near us, and they had all the contacts for the contractors. And so we've actually become friends with them. We met them for the first time in person in Louisville, Kentucky the other week at MHI. So it was awesome. Just being able to say, hey, who do you use for set crew? Who do you use for this? Who do you use for that was absolutely invaluable. We then reached out to that setup crew, and I mean, they've set, 32 homes for us in a year,
yeah.
which is, huge opportunity for them, but we wouldn't be able to have done what we did without them. And I'm not on site. I live 2 hours away from that community. I live 4 hours away from my other community. I am not on site routinely. Like I may go up to them every 3 months or so. And so my on-site manager is a huge relationship win for us.
Mm,
They live in the communities, they see everything day to day, but
yeah.
also having those relationships with contractors that you can trust, or you're on site and that contractor get along really well. So like, hey, I've got a house coming in. This, and this all need to happen. And it just seamlessly happens. Like they're figuring
Yeah.
out the setbacks off the roads, they're getting them right. They're, working together to get the plumbing lines connected underneath, like working with the city sometimes to get tie-ins into sewers and things like that. And it has been absolutely seamless. I mean, there's a little bit of like the first time we did it, kind of like, okay, what are we doing with this? But after the first couple houses, like it's just plug and play. It's like, okay, I got
Yeah.
a house coming in. Let me contact the contractors. This, and this need to happen. They're like, all right, I'll be out there in a week, 2 weeks. We've got it down where we can get a house coming in and have it completely set up and ready for occupancy within 2 weeks.
Mm,
And that is all due to our contractors. It's not due to me. All I do is send
yeah.
text messages and pay bills. It
Mm,
is due to the contractors that have a good business relationship with us, that, if I've got someone that needs to move in quickly, they will jump. They will be out there for me when I need them to be. And I mean, I can't say enough good things about them and how much I respect and appreciate everything they have done for us to make us successful, to help them be successful, and to get these homes occupied with new families, to give folks, a great start in life. I mean, it's really been very, very, like I said before, it's really been very rewarding. But the relationship building, like, yeah, it's key to just get that team that's a really strong team in place, and then just stay out of their way and let them do what they need to do.
I love it. I love it. Miss Karen, if you had to grab one or two words out the sky to describe what you and your husband do different than anyone else, what would those 1 or 2 words be?
That's probably like one or two phrases because I can't think of the words I want right now and I'm on the spot.
Oh,
But it's seeing opportunity, like, it's not taking no as an answer, and it's seeing opportunity where others may potentially just be like, "Oh, that's too difficult." Um, there was a TED Talk that came out, a while ago, and it was basically like, like, along the lines of, like, owning your heart. And
mm,
so it's, good things don't come easy, right? I mean, if they did, everyone would be doing it, or those are the low-hanging fruit that everybody's cherry picked over. Knowing how to, creatively solve problems, like, if you asked me what my title was, I would probably tell you I'm a problem solver.
got you.
Seeing the opportunity and working through it, it's engineering it to find the solutions, it's building realistic timelines, and just, getting it done at the end of the day
Love it.
and not being
Ah,
intimidated by the hope. It's, to me, every problem has a solution. It's just, or sometimes it's how much money is it going to take, and you decide that's not the solution or that's not the problem you want to have, and you pass on a deal, right? I'm not saying buy everything that comes in front of you, but it's figuring out what that solution could be, and then, figuring out if it's realistic to solve, and bringing in team players when you need them.
mm, I love it. Miss Karen, this was so great. Listen, if someone wanted to reach out to you, connect with you, collaborate with you, learn more about what you're doing, how can they get in contact with you, man?
Well, I'm an open book. The mobile home community is great. Most of us all help each other out. I have a lot of folks that have kind of unofficially mentored me in this journey, or like I said, giving me contractor suggestions, things like that. And so I believe in paying it forward. So our email address is fern, like the plant, FERN, cottage holdings at gmail.com. Or you can always call my cell or text. I'm a texter, full disclosure. I hate answering the phone, but text is great. 203 733 8380.
Love it. I absolutely love it. Well, Miss Karen, allow me to say 3 things to you, right? First, thank you for your time because time is our most precious commodity. You could have been anywhere in the world, you could say it with us. So thank you for your time. Two, thank you for your story. Thank you for the gift of your transparency and your honesty. I believe that one of the most powerful things that we have is our story, is our narrative. And I believe once we tell our narrative, people can take bits and pieces from that and can really help them sometimes skip mistakes, sometimes propel them into places that they really didn't know that they could be just based on taking tidbit from other people. So thank you for your story. And lastly, thank you for your perspective, for your mindset, and bringing that mindset to this platform. I greatly appreciate you being here today, man.
Thank you. I had a great time, and thank you to you and your team for offering to host me. It's great. Thank you.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, listen, y'all heard Miss Karen. You got the value. You can't tell me you did not get the value. You probably learned some stuff you didn't know. So definitely check the show notes, check her out, connect with her, but definitely make sure you are subscribed here because I promise you we're going to continue to bring up amazing people just like Miss Karen. So thank you again, ma'am, and to everyone else. Y'all have a fantastic day.
Thanks for joining us for today's Real Estate Pros Show. You can learn more about the amazing benefits of the Investor Fuel Mastermind community, including surrounding yourself with hundreds of other rock stars, 100% financing for your deals, and members-only discounts from vendors you're likely already using that, as a member of Investor Fuel, will save you more than the cost of your membership. Visit investorfuel.com to learn more. If you're interested in joining us as a guest of this show, please visit investorfuel.com/pros to apply. You can also check the show notes for access to free resources, how to get access to world-class lead generation, and much more. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another episode. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next show.